Hey, everybody. Welcome this afternoon. My name is Jamie Nelson. I'm the Associate Director of Educational Innovation at CITL and one of the planning people for this series of events. So welcome to the second session in our series called Spring into AI, where we highlight the campus community and what they are doing in the realm of Gen AI. Today's speaker is Vishal Sachdev, a clinical professor of business administration at the University of Illinois, where he has taught since 2008. He has served as director of the Illinois Maker Lab since 2013. His work explores how technology supports collaboration, peer learning, and collective action in online and blended environments. He is also interested in gamification, social networks as new lenses for understanding learning and work. He has received the Emerging Award for Excellence in Public Engagement and has been named on the list of excellent teachers multiple times. He holds degrees in mathematics, international business, and a PhD in information systems. I personally have known Vishal for more than a decade, and he truly lives and breathes emerging technology and innovative practice. He consistently pushes boundaries, experiments thoughtfully, and shares what he learns with others. And thank you for sharing this today. He continues to serve as a campus innovator, helping move ideas from concept to impact while keeping students at the center of the work. I do need to throw out a slight little thing. We love highlighting innovative work our faculty are doing, but please note that the tools demonstrated here have not gone through formal accessibility, privacy, or security review. So, as we explore them thoughtfully. And without further ado,
thank you.
Thank you.
Questions? Can you say something about the chat that I'll be
Oh, sure. So just to add on, as you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. This is more of a kind of a demo and a workshop. So please, Vishal will explain a little bit more. But when you put, you can put your question in the chat and we will put a thumbs up. We got it. We'll address it. We'll kind of pass it on to Vishal soon and we'll talk. And I don't know, I guess in this kind of thing, because it's a little more workshop-y, people can probably just raise their hands and immediately ask questions because they might get. So so it's a back and forth.
So that people who are on Zoom know the setup. We are all in this fancy room, and so I can actually see Jamie right here in front. Even though it looks like I'm in outer space, I am in the same room as them, and I've just blocked off the back because otherwise you'll be seeing another television behind me. The huge one here. So thank you all for joining. I see some familiar faces. Dan, good to see you, and others. Martin as well, but others, maybe I don't see them on camera, but thank you for being here. So my sort of perspective in this, and this is now sort of I'm trying to fine-tune a mental model around how we learn, how I'm learning, and how perhaps our students need to learn. So that's the theme in terms of building to learn and then learning to build as well. And then, so I'm using this sort of mental model, not just in workshops I do for faculty, for, instructional designers, or broadly any stakeholders, students, faculty, staff who are involved in the business of educating our students, right? That's the broader. And so this mental model relevant across all these audiences. And then it starts with us. So this is more targeted at us learning what it means to build, to learn. So we're going to build something today. And then in the process, we learn to build, right? So that's the play on words there. So I guess a few mental models before we start. I'm an instructor, but have changed my role, I guess, particularly over the last year, but more broadly over the last 2 years, since AI augments what you can do. And then sort of discussing the mental models, then go into a sketch mode. So be prepared. You can sketch on paper, take a picture, or sketch on your computer if you like with your mouse, or bring something into the workshop, right? A screenshot of something that you would like to make or see digitally animated, whether for yourself or for your work, some kind of a process, or really, so the idea is that from a concept to an interactive digital artifact, right? And then share it publicly. So that's the workflow we'll try and do during the event, right? So why, guess why I've been doing this is assessments, are largely ineffective if you run with what we've been doing earlier. So I've been experimenting with how we can change, and in the process, we build stuff we need for the classes or whatever for your workflow automation that can work too. And then we flip the script and get our audience or our students or your teammates or whatever, they also create, and that creation becomes the form of learning. So that's the model. So try and figure out how we leverage AI as part of the process. So you become a builder, you teach building, and then students become creators, and hopefully you can figure out a way to assess all of this. Maybe the process becomes more important than the artifact, because it turns out that execution may not be a marketable skill too much, right? So really what matters is figuring out the problem and then implementing the solution. And execution, as long as it's a digital product or service or a process, that execution is automated. So that's where I'm going from. Yeah.
There's a comment from Dan.
Yeah.
Quote, my project, I want to build an API to interface and update static spreadsheets automatically using AI, specifically automatically updating the contact information of people at target accounts who may change or leave.
Can be done. $500 an hour on my consultant fees. No, I'm just kidding. No, you can do it, right? But this is more, maybe some of the tools you learn here can help you actually conceptualize where to go from here. But I guess the flow here will be more, what do I want to imagine into the world? So some kind of a visual depiction, a workflow, a screen, and then we go to that. But yes, Dan, it is possible what you're thinking of. And, we can chat after this or offline and, help you get started, right? So why this works and why I think it'll work. I tried it, a couple of semesters in the classroom, is that getting students to be more motivative, or anybody, right? Your colleagues, whatever agency, is important. And AI allows us to iterate fast, right? We'll do something in 15, 20 minutes where you'll have a functioning prototype of what you think about, right? 5 minutes of thinking and 10 minutes of building, and you have a prototype. So you can iterate faster, maybe 10 prototypes a day, and then the 10th one will actually be usable. And hopefully that builds some curiosity. It has for me, because I'm like building a system a day, I'm automating a process a day, is just, how much can I not sleep? That's the limiting factor. So some mental models, when you work with these AI tools, you're really not worried about technical skills. It's more about communicating. It's more about perspective taking, which educators should be good at, which is what we talk about. What does this other entity know that we are asking to do some work for us? So that's, broadly speaking, theory of mind, right? What does this other person know? And I don't want to anthropomorphize, but that's where I'm going. Yeah.
A comment from Kelly.
Yeah.
I can attest to this. Vishal, you taught the data viz course in the SBC program in the College of Media, and we were using AI in new ways in that course.
Thank you. I guess this next one for the SBC will be more of AI because from the last time I taught it and this time I taught it, the world has changed. So the new cohort will get a lot more of it, but thank you for sharing. So as anybody who thinks about what the audience needs, thinks, knows, right? That's the perspective we take instead of worrying about the technology. So your job is to be the bridge. so domain experts become or domain expertise becomes more important accordingly, along with AI literacy, right? So that combination is really powerful. In fact, just today, somebody sent me a link to a story about a doctor who participated in a hackathon with one of these AI companies. And out of what, 15,000 participants, this guy came second and then built something which is outside of the EMR domain, right? So it's not stuck in the electronic medical records and all. I didn't look at it in detail, how he avoided privacy and all that. But anyway, right, even as a empowering medical innovators, which is what Dan's mandate is at the Carl College of Medicine, which is what our students should be doing more of. That was a good example, right? So we don't really need to worry about, oh, what's the best way to prompt it, and go about worrying about that. We need to figure out what this other intelligence that we are harnessing knows. So context engineering is basically saying what kind of knowledge is available, right, inbuilt, and then what is my knowledge that I'm giving it, or my documents or whatever. So I guess if you don't know the domain, it's pretty much pointless trying to become good at AI. If you know the domain but don't become AI literate, you'll get somewhere. And if you can combine both, I think that's where you can leverage and become 10x, right? So another mental model is, you're not a coder. You don't have to be. I'm not, but I'm building like an app a week because I'm an architect and I understand how to manage context, right? So in our context, we're talking about, we are pedagogical experts, or whatever your expertise might be. Build in some AI literacy, and then build to learn and learn to build, right? Iteration happens. You can iterate 4 times a day, 5 times a day. I think the constraint now is human attention rather than cognitive capabilities in these tools, right? So the limitation is now humans and the time they allocate to actually trying these tools, right? So let me show you something that I've built, and actually I'm probably going to try. Let me see, what is the latest one I did? The latest one was what? I think, Jason, I'm going to pick on you. You tell us, Jason, what did you see? I'm going to stop sharing.
You talking about the website that you sent me this morning?
That was sorry. Let me. Yeah, sorry. Not the website. The WhatsApp bot.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So Vishal had a great article on LinkedIn where he was recognizing that students don't go into Canvas in order to get help. They go to wherever they are at the moment, which is often WhatsApp. And while he may not be awake at 3 o'clock in the morning checking WhatsApp, he could create a bot that is always an AI bot that is always alive and active and well, checking the WhatsApp at 3 a.m. And so it's just an interesting idea of extending his presence and his reach beyond, his temporal confines. And the bot was also, imbued with his pedagogical priorities and strategies, where the bot was not simply giving answers to the question of how to do this left join in SQL, but rather prompting the learner, what do you already know? What's the next step that you can take, the Socratic method and so forth. So it was just a really nice combination of his pedagogical prowess, the ability of the technologies to harness a bot in a helpful way, and just keeping the learner centered in all of that. And yeah, that's the link. I really enjoyed that article.
Thank you, Jason, for letting me pick on you. So I put that link in the chat, and I've also put a link to my public repositories on GitHub. You can take a look at pretty much how most of them, not most of them, all of them will say that there is a co-author with them, which is usually Claude, which is one of the providers of the tools. So you can take a look at those. So that's one example. of uh, sort of me building and all of this, some students, but helping me, but a lot of it is me talking to sort of an AI tool and giving it context, giving it my goals, giving it my objectives, then iterating several times, right? Sometimes uh, 50 times, right? So, and obviously takes time, but it's not unproductive time. So another example, which I plan to demo soon with more for, well, for faculty as well, but learning designers, is a tool, open source tool that I've worked on for about a year now. And so that helps you leverage your content inside Canvas, but make it accessible using any of the AI tools. So that's a jargon term. It's an MCP, Model Context Protocol server, which allows me to connect to Canvas or all my courses and do, update pages and, revise assignments, create groups. It's like I've created like 80 tools on that. And, maybe a few thousand people have downloaded it and used it, including students, because students can access, if they have 4 courses, they can access using an API as well. So that's another example, right? So now it's time for you all to get involved. So we're going to use Excalibur, which is, and I don't even think you need an account. This is my old stuff already showing up. Keep showing up. Okay, fine. So I'm just going to open up. So this is Excalibur.com is basically an infinite canvas. So please open up that tool. You may not even need a login, and you will need a login if you want to save anything. Now, if you don't like sketching on whiteboards on a computer, the alternative is for you to, anyway, I mean, those who are already opening up, just play around with it, explore what it's basically. Some of you, I'm sure, have used Windows Paint, in the years back. It's basically that on the web with blocks and arrows and images, but much fancier and much more responsive. So you can explore, the palette, you can, make your shapes, you can, add some stuff, it connects the shapes. So let's take 5 minutes for you to get used to this interface. But the idea is you want to use this interface to create something that you want to bring into the world, right? It could be something for if you're teaching a class, you can, if it is a process that you want to automate, you could explore that. Though I haven't really tested if this works well for process automation. You need not only think visually, you can think visually and then add comments, right? So there's a text box which allows you to add context. So for example, if you look at what I was doing here, I was pretty much describing what I want, right? Saying, oh, make it, so that there is a title field, there's a question display. So I'm describing the interface, but you can also just sketch out, okay, I want a page that looks like this, that accepts this input, that does a chat with me. So you can actually imagine AI features that you can build in, because we're going to use this in Google AI Studio, which has inbuilt audio, video, which will bake it in within minutes. You don't even have to do APIs or anything. So, be ambitious. Now, if you're not creative like me, because I can't draw for nuts, you can actually just screenshot something. Hey, I wish I could do something like, whatever Yelp does or Airbnb does or whatever, right? So play with this tool, become familiar there, and then take about 5 minutes to sketch something. And why I'm forcing you all, and I force my students also, I often force them to do stuff on paper, is that I want the ideation to start with the human. All of this you can do with text as well, right? You can just say, hey, make me XYZ. I think there the AI tools take you in their own direction and you lose agency. So if you force yourself or your students or your colleagues to conceptualize whatever you want, a process, a diagram, an interface, a solution on paper, discuss with people in a team, and then move forward, you are more likely to feel ownership. You're more likely to drive the AI tool to your vision rather than just accept the AI tool's vision, because it's very easy to do that, right? But the problem is that the moment you let the AI drive the vehicle, very often you almost say, hey, this is good enough, just let it go, right? Or sort of, maybe it's okay, it's fine. And when that happens, you don't learn as much, your students don't learn as much, your colleagues will not learn as much. So if you're doing it for yourself, which we are, force yourself to conceptualize. Visually is better, but if you want to write a spec, write the outline without using AI first. Then you can use AI to brainstorm, saying, okay, what am I missing? What are the edge cases? And you can do that for an image as well. Here's what I think I want. Sketch it out, paper, whatever. So if you don't like a digital medium, just use a paper, sketch it out, take a picture, drag it here. Actually, you won't even need this if you're not using this for sketching, because we're going to export from here into Google. I'll shut up for a few minutes and you please draw. Maybe for another 5 minutes, and I can handle questions till then. Okay, Andrea's done. Andrea, do you want to share your screen with us and show us what you're thinking of?
Going to embarrass me. Anyway, this is where my mind is right now, because I'm not quite sure where we're going with this. Let me share my screen.
That's okay.
Hold on a second. Share. Oh, sharing is not turned on.
Oh, okay. We have the image in the chat. I can use that. I can.
Yeah,
It's actually mine.
Use that.
I snuck in.
ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, we'll turn on sharing.
No, that's fine. Let's go with what Jamie posted.
No, we want to see what you did.
Not.
Oh man, come on, share. And here we go. That's all I did so far.
That's good. Okay, so what are you thinking? What do you want this to become?
I want this to be the start of a Halloween movie.
Halloween movie. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I got an echo. Okay. And could you zoom out so that we see the full image?
That's what it is.
Oh, okay. Okay, so there's something
wait, hold on a second. I'm having problems with my mouse.
So yeah, so the additional context around what you want this to become can be added later as well, though depending on what the vision is, you can add context around the image. So for example, if this was something where you needed to add context which was visually, right, say, okay, this top left of this image, I want it to mean X, and the bottom right. So because this is a visual tool, you can add context by pointing to something, right? So you can make a text box and point to one section of the image, which is difficult to do when you're working with text only, because you say, hey, I've sent you this image, but look at that top left, bottom right corner. And that, so you can do a lot more when you conceptualize something as a visual. So, you can explore adding more context, which is text around it. But, that's, this is a good place to start. So I would say is...
This was super helpful, Vishal, because I really wasn't sure where you're going with this. But basically, I think what I'm understanding now is you sketch something out, or it could be a text that you write, but then you need to give the tool more context of what actually should happen with that, right?
Yes. And some
So
of it,
maybe
if you can
maybe
describe it
Wikipedia
in
is good.
text, it's okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Got it. Yeah, so I'll add that. I'm going to turn off my sharing now.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody else would like to share?
I can share what I'm doing right now. Let's see.
Didn't hear. Is anybody sharing? Sorry. Okay.
So I'm working on I'm trying to sketch out a interface that I want to have on a web app that lets you pick a template from a drop down. And these are mobile apps. So you're picking a mobile app template and I want it to show sort of a virtual phone. And you click on the elements and then it moves those elements over into this details panel where you can customize them.
Nice. Okay.
That's kind of
You
what
did
I
that
would
all
like.
in 5 minutes?
Yeah, I've been working as fast as I can with it.
Wow, you're very creative. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's a good amount of context, and there are pointers with text on the image. So this will work
So
pretty well.
it likes the pointers and
Yeah, it likes the
descriptions like that.
pointers.
Okay.
So anything that you can do visually makes it much easier to move faster. And then, of course, you can give context, just type away stuff, right? So all those who have something created, please export it out as an image. So there should be a file export. And then let's open up Google AI Studio. That needs to be with your personal Gmail account, because I think our school accounts get blocked on Google AI Studio. So let me share my screen again. And Jamie, if you could put a link to Google AI Studio in the chat. So what we're going to do is now the output from Excalidraw as an image will go into AI Studio. I'll open up the interface as well. And so I'm going to, I guess I'm sharing my school account. I'll move to my personal account and then share screen. So your interface should also look like something like this. And I'm on a free account, so I'm not paying for anything extra that you won't get. There actually, I don't know, you may not land up here, you might land up on home, and then there should be a build on the left of the screen. So we're going for the build link on the left. I'm going to click on that. And I have a bunch of stuff already happened on the bottom left. These are prior apps. Some of them are mine. Some are what other people have shared with me. So it's a shareable, visible, public app as well. So I'm going to show you one or two while what you're doing in the background is export from Excalidraw, import into build, and then add text context on what you want to do while I show you some stuff I've done. So this was something I had done in class in 5 minutes, right? In front of students, I had said, I need a randomizer, which is voice activated and gives a voice output when I click a spinner, and then the team comes up and presents, right? So this was, and I think if I use it, I'm going to get an echo, but I'm going to try it anyway. I don't know if that's, click the microphone, start voice session, spin the wheel. Now, I don't think you'll be able to hear it because I'm not sharing audio. Okay, I guess we lost some audio from the main room, so I'm using my audio now. Anyway, so back to our, just to check, everybody can hear me? Okay, so then there was a question about, okay, will it repeat teams? So whatever you need to do can be handled right here. And I can say, make sure you don't repeat team numbers once once you pick them.
So, okay, they've made some changes since the last time, and you'll have that open, right? They changed the interface on you. So now on the left, you'll see it's giving us some prompts. It's trying to look at the logic. It's doing all of that. I don't care too much, right? I'm just saying, hey, do this for me. I will test it. If it doesn't work, I'll tell you to fix something else again. And what you're seeing on the screen is Google attempting to give you a taste of what new features you can embed in your apps, right? So it is coming up with ideas, suggestions, and very often several of them will be around AI inputs, right? Saying, hey, I can hear you, I can talk to you, I can do some AI stuff. So those kind of features it'll keep adding, and then it'll fix something and you can test it again if it works or not, right? So to show you an example of something that somebody shared with me in an earlier session. So when I'm opening this app, it's saying this is from another developer. And in the next 5-7 minutes, you should be able to share an app with us using the Zoom chat. Okay, I'm going to ask you to do that. But every time it does that, it says, okay, so somebody built this. I don't remember who it was. Some kind of a TA role, navigator, again, in 10-15 minutes. So those are some examples. So now let me stop my share and have you try it and then share with us. So once you're ready with something, it doesn't have to be perfect. There is a publish option. On the top right, you click publish, you'll get a share link. You can share that with us in the chat, or if you want to share your screen and tell us, what was your experience, we'd love to hear.
One more quick question, Vishal. With that number selector you made, did you import any sketches into it?
No,
or did you just build it from
just from text.
Yeah.
I didn't even do a sketch for that one because that was in class. And I just said, hey, let's make it. Let's see if it actually works. And it worked. Yeah.
Vishal, sorry, I may have missed that. But so once we're
So
in
if I'd given a sketch, I would have been closer to what I wanted rather than what the AI tool thought up I wanted. And I've seen in terms of my own building experience, the moment I let the AI take the wheel without first having a vision of what I want to do, it's very likely that a week later, I won't even remember what the AI did because my brain wasn't even used.
Mm-hmm.
And then the more I do that, the less likely I am to actually be able to improve on what the AI did because I don't even have a mental model of what happened and the behind the scenes. Right? It wasn't my vision driving the artifact. It was an AI, what we call AI slop, if you read about it. So I would say, yes, I've done enough of both. So I'm seeing the difference. Come to do both, but you might as well learn from each other. Yeah.
There's a comment from the guy, I think I fall short on imagination. What kind of app would be useful in my course?
Yeah. So I wouldn't immediately drive your thinking towards apps. I would think about one concept, right? Pick one concept that you need to learn or you need to teach, start there. It's just a one pager, it's interactive, that's good enough. You don't need to think about what app do I need, right? So just think about, hey, I need to explain, like, for example, in my database course, I need to talk about what we did in high school math, which was set theory, right? Union of two data sets. And that is a very nice.
Yes, I think we can.
And folks hear me? I've muted my computer now. Okay, so we're back to room audio. So that's like just a one pager, but it's very well done visually. And I mean, it's there out, you can find it on the web as well, but it'll take you another 2 minutes to generate it, and you can tweak it and make it contextual and use the example you discussed in class rather than what somebody on the internet has created. And there's just a one pager visually showing set theory in the context of data management. That's good enough to start with. Let's see what Kelly has published.
This is a little different than what my brain envisions, but you may or may not know that Dean Elliott has her own virtual avatar. And
Yeah.
so my actual vision of this would be like her talking to whoever it is that is going to like answer the questions and things that the engagement team would be trying to get.
Absolutely. So it looks like the link is not.
Oh, okay, let me
shared,
see.
so you might have to publish and then share. I don't know if you already published. Yeah. Anybody else would like to share?
I'm still thinking.
Still thinking? Yeah, it does take some time depending on. Got something there? Okay, you can share. Publish and then share.
Mine wants me to put billing in to be able to publish it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So this is a new thing, right? So they keep changing stuff on us, right? Earlier it was not. I think I have my credit card in there, but they don't charge it. I'm on the free tier. So maybe that's a new constraint they're putting. And they all want to make money after all. So yeah, I guess.
I could share my screen though if you want.
Sure, yeah, that'll be great. That's probably
Okay.
easier. Yeah, we can just do that. Yeah. And you can have one more person screen share after this.
What do you see?
You
I don't
see
know
the
which computer it went.
see Teams chat right now.
Okay. Okay, so this is what kind of showed up whenever I put in my little, I wanted to have a chat bot, but instead of this.
We're still seeing your Teams chat, I think.
Yeah, Kelly, we're seeing your Teams
chat. Got it.
Yeah.
I'm on two screens. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Better?
That works. Yeah.
So it kind of built me like a alumni interface. So I envisioned this chat being Dean Elliott's avatar, like talking to the alumni. So this could be whether like they get it in an email or on LinkedIn or something like that. But I think it could be a really cool thing to be able to do alumni engagement.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, and there are a lot of ways to actually have this be interactive, and I'm sure the learning team already has most of the infrastructure and stuff done. So you might just knock on their door and say, hey, I want to do this for alumni, and they might be able to repurpose what they're doing for the class.
It could be fun.
Yeah. Anybody else would like to share?
Mine's kind of broken. I could share it though.
Sure.
It was interesting. So first of all, full disclosure, I had to go to the bathroom in the middle of this, so I didn't have time to draw much, but I did throw. Let me show you.
Yeah, sure.
Screen number 3. There we go. Is that sharing it?
Yep.
So I threw a spreadsheet, just kind of copied and pasted it in there, and then I didn't understand how to use it, so I got back and I was like, I can't write, but I can. So I want to have this. It doesn't have a column for LinkedIn yet, but I want to be able to keep, I've got a static list of like 200 and some companies, and I have certain like comments, next steps, priorities, all that kind of stuff. And I want to be able to manage this a little more actively and not so statically. So I took this and I put it in and it returned this. Let's see here. Oh, it gave me this. I don't know what happened. It went for 214 seconds. Can you see this now?
Yeah, we can see the chat. Yeah.
The Canvas collab or whatever.
Yeah,
and it said 214, and then it gave me this. I built this with key features, and I don't know what that is. I didn't do anything over here, so I don't know.
Probably just give it that feedback that I don't see much on the screen. Can you render the screen again or something? It'll try and fix stuff. Yeah. Or, one way is that if you wanted to go slow, you say, hey, let's start just with a mock-up, don't build too much logic into it right now so that I can see the screen and then we can build the logic.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. I'll stop sharing.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What was I think who had shared earlier?
So mine created a little app, so it might be worth
And publicly?
Yep. Yep.
And put that up and see.
I didn't really, actually Adam's testing it now. I didn't really test it. Yeah, no, it worked.
Another developer. Ooh, advisor match. Nice. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I opened up Jamie's link and it asks for an advisor. So I'll say, okay, no. Career advice. Let's see. Major business analytics. So you see that in 5 minutes, Jamie was able to set up a chat as well, and it can be multimodal. You saw my app, which was accepting with audio input, giving an audio output. It can accept an image as a reference and then give you, a mock-up, and then you can slowly build in logic behind it. And then when you think you've got it where you want it, you can hand it off to somebody who can actually develop it for you. Though I would encourage you to try it yourself as far as you can go, right? Build it on some of these free tools, and when later you want to use it for work, you can actually ask somebody to give you help so that data security and all that stuff can be taken care of. Until then, don't use real data in any of these tools, right? Just fake data is good enough. For example, Dan, for your cases, if the data is secure, don't feed that in, just feed the what's called metadata, right? These are the columns. And these AI tools will actually create fake data for you, and you can verify it and then use it. And then when you have something you like, you can, you hire a student to help you build it, or, tech services and stuff.
Interesting. Thank you.
So just let me see if there's anything more that I need to say. I shouldn't say too much, but you've done this. Now, if you need to share it, of course, there's the Google Share, which looks like it's now blocked with the credit card, but it won't charge you. The free tier is good enough. The other option to quickly share what you want out there is this Netlify service, which basically says download stuff from Google. It'll download a zip file and you upload to Netlify on the free tier, and it'll become a web app that you can share. If the Google app sharing does not work, this is sort of completely easy. Google has a zip download, top right somewhere, download, upload here. I've had people try it. They said this is much better than, I do stuff on GitHub and Netlify and all those. Not Netlify, I mean other sort of little bit more professional tools, but this is perfect for quick prototype, share, get feedback, and then decide where you want to take it. So I will share these slides, but I think I've said enough. So I'll open it for questions, chat, anything else. I can share this. So this, I guess, this slides that I was using is another mental model of how I build my presentations. I don't really make them anymore. I just say, okay, this is my audience. This is what I want to convey. Here's my template, or here's what I did last time. Modify it. I review it. I review the text. And then it just reuses some of my old stuff. I change it. And all of this I'm doing, I guess, if you want to, I don't need to anyway. I mean, I use the terminal a lot, so most of you are not going to go there, which is fine. But yeah, so I guess I'll put the link to my slides also here. This is all text on my computer that went to GitHub and it was visualized using a package. And I couldn't care two hoots about what it is doing. I just know how to get it to work. Right? Over time, you do learn, but the tool is called SlideV. It's a library, SLIDEV. But guess what? You don't need to know. All you gotta know is talk to a tool and say, I want this done. I know this is possible. So that's important. Right? These kind of events tell you what's possible. Sort of your imagination is the only limit. And then your persistence. So I see Ethan has put NBA performance. Very nice. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, amazing stuff. Yeah, but open for questions, thoughts, ideas. And the link I've shared, which has more resources at the end if you want to play around with more tools. But really, it's about doing this a few times and persisting. And then, the world is your oyster. Yes, sign up for more spring events. Yes. Andrea, yes, please do go ahead, post it.
Thank you.
Sure, pleasure.
No, I really liked this.
Sophia, yes, slide dev. I think it is called SLIDEV is the spelling. Yeah, that's the package.
This has been especially helpful because I hear, hey, I made an app, I did this, I did that, but having you kind of walk us through and maybe it wasn't perfect. I didn't sit there, but it only took 5 minutes to create something.
Yeah, so just, do it over 10 times and you'll have something usable.
Yeah.
Do we have more limitations if we would want to build something like to use within the university, like specifically like the alumni? Do we know, if we would have ideas of things like this, we probably have to have a larger conversation with like IT partners and things like, how could we implement this on our website or something like that?
Yeah, I think you have it exactly because we have some developers in my group that are creating these kind of things, but how do we know? Yep, we can totally use it and throw whatever our data is into it. So we need to have further conversations about it.
But you need to push on those things, right? You need to ask for those things. Even if that capability doesn't exist, it should be created. And if people say we want it, then enough people saying we want to be able to come up with ideas and create interfaces. I mean, the easiest way is hire a student, get a proof of concept if you don't have enough time to build it. Though these days I'm seeing that it takes me longer to explain to a student what I need rather than just make it myself. Of course, at the same time, our job is to train students, so I still hire them. And often I've got two versions running. Hey, okay, this is what I need. You build it. I'm going to build it, and we'll decide whose is better.
Well, this is a great mock-up tool too, to say, I want something like this. Here's what it looks like. Where do we go?
Yeah, and then you can take that mock-up to IT and
yeah. And in the morning, in fact, Jason had sent me a detailed spec on what he was asking the D-Lab team to do, like a 4-page spec. And I just fed it to my agents and I said, okay, visualize this spec as an app. And then, in 10 minutes, it made a 10-page, much more visually appealing proof of concept, which now he can hand off to students and okay, this is what I want. And they don't have to do 10 hours of customer discovery. It's like, I've already thought through, this is the user interface. I mean, of course, this was 10 minutes of agent. So I have really no idea what they did because I was not paying attention. I just used his spec and made, and to show you how crazy it is, I can actually share it with you as well.
In the meantime, Vishal, there is a question from Ethan.
Yeah.
Once we have something on Netlify, are there any limits to how long that URL will last? Do we need to get a domain eventually?
No, as long as you're not using it for any kind of major traffic, it'll stay. Yeah, it'll be a live URL for all the testing you need. Yeah, just once many people start using it, then they will come up against some kind of limits. And if it's a simple, no frills, little interactivity, right? It doesn't need a database and stuff. I would say you can even explore GitHub and learn how to use that, because that allows you to become sort of prolific in the number of things you can try without worrying about hosting or anything. Yeah. But Netlify works too. And there are options, right? So if ever Netlify changes their rules, find something else and they'll host it for free.
Any final questions online or in-house?
Well, thank you all.
Great. No, thank
I'll
you.
hand it over to Jamie for anything else. Closing notes.
Yeah, no, thank you again for really kind of opening my eyes and other people's eyes to what's possible and actually seeing what's, doing it and like, oh my gosh. So, and I don't remember when our next meeting is, when our next session is.
Next Friday, the 27th. One more question from Sophia. Do we have support resources for people who are interested in building something?
I think we have links to our communities around teaching and research on Teams, which has a lot of people who are doing this. But I guess find people, I mean, all the people on this call, make note of their names. They're always interested. I think 5 or 6 people who are here. I'm certainly available to help. Beyond that, I don't know if you go the tech services route, they'll be able to help on this, but I just talk to my AI and get help. Yeah, so just figure out how to give these tools the context, and they can do most of the work for you to prototype stuff. When you get to production, yes, you might need expert help.
And just plugging our own thing, because we actually have a space that's meant to support XR development, AI, and other stuff. So there's the contact. That's just the general contact information from CITL, and see where you get from that.
Thank you all for joining. Look forward to staying connected.
Thank you.